Hi guys, welcome to Farmer Fridays, where I can talk to our agriculturists, ag businesses, and ag organizations across the state of West Virginia. My name is Elizabeth Lynch, your Miss Jefferson County 2022. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with a Jefferson County Commissioner, Stolipher. How are you today?
Very good. Great to be here.
Thank you so much for agreeing to interview with me today. It really does mean a lot. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself and your agricultural background.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. It's great. It's great to be here. I grew up in Jefferson County, born and raised on a farm on the southern part of the county, in the what I refer to as the Ripon area. My family, we have been involved in agriculture for almost 300 years in the county. It's several generations that have been involved in various types of farming. Primarily, my family, we've always farmed wheat, soybeans, corn, and we've raised cattle.
Wow, that's amazing. So you've been doing this for a very long time, seems like. What is the most challenging thing, do you think, about working in agriculture?
One of the most challenging things about working in agriculture is not knowing what you can sell your product for, because it's a commodity. We right now, as throughout the county, well, throughout the country for that matter, farmers are going out and spending millions of dollars to plant their crops, put fertilizer out, and in hopes that when they harvest their crop in October, November, that the prices will yield them a profit. And that is probably one of the most challenging things that the farmers deal with. And consequently, sometimes it doesn't work out for them. And as you see, and you'll hear certain farmers that they just can't make it any further, or any longer, I should say, because of this volatile market and with our commodities. On the flip side of things, right now, what's going on in Ukraine has actually helped our market a little bit, because Ukraine is considered the breadbasket of wheat. So with the crisis that is happening over on the other side of the world here, is certainly helping our commodities. I don't know how to say this, but I don't wish that on anybody and what they're going through, unfortunately. But however, if we get this under control if they can get this under control by the time harvest, then our commodities will go back the other way.
Right. Yeah, I was talking to Katie Dove from Orr's Farm Market, and one of the things that she said was the most challenging thing was that sometimes it can be a bit of a gamble, and that's exactly what you just expressed there too.
It is.
So on the flip side of all of that, what do you think is the best thing about working in agriculture?
The best thing about working in agriculture is the fact that you get to work with Mother Nature. You get to work outside. Now, that doesn't sound that refreshing when it's 10 degrees or 95 degrees. However, it all has its pluses and minuses. One of probably the greatest things about working in agriculture, what we have done over the years, is when you have to assist a heifer or a mare to get when they're giving birth, it's one of the most rewarding experiences you can have working on a farm, and watching life, and then once these foals and these heifers and steers or bullcalves that get up and literally are walking within an hour after being born, and you know that you took part in the start of raising that animal, it's really great.
No, I completely agree. When you're there, that's such an amazing feeling to know that you're helping to bring life into the world. So you are the Jefferson County Commissioner. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
How have you used that title to help support agriculture in Jefferson County?
How I use that title to help support agriculture in Jefferson County, I am a pro land rights commissioner. I support the land rights of not only farmers, but anybody. If you own and you pay taxes on your property, then you should have the right to do on your property as you wish. So to lead into that a little bit, as you know, farming is very tough. We've had a few farmers that obviously throughout the years couldn't ride the waves. And now farmers are finding ways to sustain and have a more steady income. Um, it might be something more non-traditional, but it's working so they can continue to have and keep their family farm that's been given to them generation after generation. One thing that they're doing is, I know one farmer, he's getting involved in what we call tiny houses, and he's putting tiny houses on a part of his farm along the creek and leasing them out. The little houses, they're on like a frame. People, that's very popular right now, and that is going to give him an income, a steady income, whereas having to deal with these volatile markets in the commodities. Another avenue that I see that a lot of farmers are doing right now is they're leasing their farms out for solar. Now they're going from more of a traditional type of farming, and they're going to farm the sun. And that's also causing a little bit of controversy of its own, because some people, some neighboring neighbors, they don't want to see a solar panel on that farm. They only want to see corn, soybeans, cattle, and whatever else they're going to grow. However, it's my mindset that they're paying taxes on the property. They have a right to do it. It's certainly at solar or tiny houses. They're not. It's not going to harm their neighbors. It's not going to contaminate anything. It's not going to contaminate the water, the soils. So that's how I try to help support the farmers. And if they come up with an idea that's going to be more sustainable than the volatile commodities, that's how I like to support the farmers and giving them the land rights that they deserve.
Right. I also noticed that you support the farmland preservation efforts in Jefferson County. So for our viewers at home who may not know about the Farmland Protection Program, could you tell me a little bit about that?
The Farmland Protection Program basically is we have our own board, the Farmland Protection Board. The farmers who want to put their property in farmland protection will fill out an application, and they'll go before the board. We usually have several every year, and then the Farmland Protection Board will choose which properties they want to protect, and that's perpetuity, that's forever. So typically how it would work, the farmer would fill out an application, go before the board. They determine how much or which properties they're going to choose, because there's more asked for protection than we have money for. The money comes from tax stamps. Right now, the good thing about it, because we are going through a boom in Jefferson County, we are able to fund more farmland protection requests than we have back in, say, 2011, 2012 time period. And what happens, once they choose that particular farm or property, they will have a easement on the property, and they can never build other than an agricultural type of a unit, or so that would fall under barns, grain tanks, silos. They just cannot build any type of, say, subdivision or any type of structures like that. And then the Farmland Protection Program pays that farmer last I heard, it was around $4,200 an acre average. And then the farmer can certainly take that money and invest it either back into equipment, back into livestock, or they can put it in the stock market for that matter.
Right. So what efforts have been made in Jefferson County when it comes to the Farmland Protection Program? Have there been more farms recently that have been put into the program, or what have you seen during your time?
We have a couple hundred acres every year that goes into the program. Most recently, this is before there was a property right along old Route 9 that was put into the program. It was Mr. Buckle's property. This property was adjacent to the towns and probably the next logical place to develop. And they decided to put that into farmland protection and protect it forever.
That's really exciting too, especially when it comes to all the farms right now that are being sold off for subdivisions and getting grocery stores being put on them. So all of these lands that you're talking about are going to be used specifically for agriculture for the rest of the time. And that's really exciting to hear.
Absolutely.
Now, kind of switching gears a little bit, how has COVID affected the agricultural industry in Jefferson County that you know of?
Well, during COVID, obviously, there has been very little activity taking place at the farmers markets. As far as our farm, we obviously raise beef cattle, and the supply chain has gotten very thin. And trying to raise your steers and send them to the butcher was very challenging, in the fact that everybody else was doing the same thing, and it took 6 months. You were on a waiting list for 6 months
Wow.
to get into the butcher. It made it very difficult. Obviously, when a steer is ready and they're finished, really putting 6 more months of feed into them is not going to be very profitable.
Right.
And that was with every butcher that within our, I don't know, 100 miles from Charlestown. So it was certainly something that was taking place across the country, where people were buying hogs and buying steers or heifers, and they were sending them directly to the butcher. That was probably the most challenging thing that we experienced over the COVID. Just trying to get our animals to the butcher shop and be able to get those processed.
Right. And a lot of people all over the country dealt with this problem too. It was a little wild there for a while.
It was.
How can our community help our farmers and farmers markets moving forward?
Well, one of the things, it would be great if we could have a certified USDA butcher shop. That would be great. If our community could come together and have I don't know, say a tri-county butcher shop that's ran by whoever wants to run. And if we could process more animals quicker, and that would give a chance for our type of product to go directly to the market. Now, as you know, in Jefferson County, Jefferson market, Charlestown has a farmers market, and that's great. They're taking their vegetables, their honey, their everything that they sell there. They're taking them directly to market. One of the biggest problems is it's only I'll say seasonal. It would be great if we could have some type of market or some type of building that they can go to in the wintertime, and they can set up and sell their product in the wintertime.
Yeah, that would be an amazing thing to do. Those are really great ideas. Now, what is one thing that you want your community or your state to know about Jefferson County agriculture as a whole?
Well, Jefferson County agriculture is obviously near and dear to my heart. Being raised on a farm here in Jefferson County, it certainly was probably one of the best childhoods that I could ever ask. And to keep farmers profitable, and so they can maintain and stay as a farm, we have to protect their land rights. And even if they want to do something that's not traditional type of a farm, we still have to respect their rights as a landowner and respect their wishes, how they want to be able to put food on their family's table. With that being said, I mean, there's a lot of different avenues that people can go into agriculture. With my family, we're more or less into row cropping and cattle. There's a lot of specialties people can go into. So there's a lot of opportunities to go into agriculture, whether you're going to have greenhouses. If you maybe you might want to do a type of specialty beef like Wagyu or something like that. You do not need to farm thousands of acres to make a living in the agriculture world. You can have a specialty, and those specialties do work, and you can take your product directly to market, and you can find a way to do that. Then that cuts out all the middle guys.
Oh yeah. One of the things that I always talk about is one of my favorite quotes is, it's not just about cows, sows, and plows. You have the ability to work in science and agriculture. You could become an agricultural lawyer. You could become a vet. There's so many different avenues when it comes to the agricultural industry that you can get involved in. So it just doesn't always mean that you have to be working on a farm if that's not what your heart chooses to push you towards. So that's really
You-
cool.
You're exactly right.
Now, I'm a first generation farmer. I grew up raising pigs to sell for market and then riding horses. I worked with sheep and goats during my undergraduate degree and now poultry for my master's degree. So, what advice would you give to those who want to start working in an agricultural field?
I would kind of go back to my last statement and the fact that you don't have to be a row cropper to be successful in an agricultural business. You can simply, if you had again a specialty, a niche, something you could find, um, you could be an agriculture consultant. You do not have to necessarily have to get out of bed every morning at 4 a.m. to go milk cows and at 4 p.m. to show back up at the dairy farm. There's so many different ways to make money in the agricultural world today. And you'll even see farmers, they raise, like again, their vegetables, they have high tunnels, all that type of stuff works. They take their product right to market. Again, you can be an agricultural attorney. You could be a farrier, if you wanted to work with horses. There's so many things and there's so many opportunities you can do because agriculture is never going to go away. Our population continues to grow. Our world population continues to grow. And we're always going to need food and good quality food and safe food to feed the world.
I 100% agree with that statement. That's something that I preach all the time. Now, taking from my favorite speech by Irwin Milton Tiffany, why do you believe in the future of agriculture?
Well, you know what? I kind of led into that in my last statement, but again, it's being able to grow the products, and again, the population of the world is growing, and we as farmers and folks that are here in agriculture, there will always be a need for food. So if you can continue to grow food, and whether it doesn't matter what it is, if it's a vegetable farm, it's a beef or dairy farm, sheep, hogs, whatever the case may be, you can do that, and there's always a market to sell that type of product. Now, granted, some of the markets are very volatile to the commodities. However, if you can find a niche product to work with, again, I go back to some previous statements, whether you grow Wagyu beef or some type of a specialty. Something I'm hearing about now, believe it or not, is ostrich.
Really?
Very popular. I'm hearing.
Wow.
I have a friend of mine who bought some stock into an ostrich farm in Colorado. I'm going to study up on it. It sounds interesting to me. I don't know that if you drive past my farm, you'll see a bunch of ostriches out here anytime soon, but you never know. There's always, and right now, so many people are very conscious of where their food comes from. They don't want their food sitting on a barge in the harbor that's coming from, say, China or wherever. They like to make sure that their food is made here in the USA and is fresh. So that's very important for the farmers here and United States and our area. That it's very important to know that if people still want good quality food that's safe to eat for their families.
Yeah, absolutely. Those actually all of the questions that I have for you today, Commissioner Stolipher. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with me and to all of my viewers. I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's
Yes,
all
ma'am.
that we have today for Farmer Fridays. My name is Elizabeth Lynch, and always remember to thank the farmer. Great.